Hi, my name is Shadow and I'm going to show you today some ways to carry your greatsword around. When you carry your sword, you usually do it by having it in a sheath or a scabbard around your waist. But with a big sword like this here, this is not really an option, because it can get very cumbersome and swing around. It is even difficult here to draw your sword from your hip, especially if the sword is even longer, like my one here that is a bit on the shorter side with 1.55 centimeters. But then again, there are other options as well to carry your big sword around. In the book The Art of the Two-Handed Sword, there is a whole chapter which is called How One Ought to Hold the Spadone While Walking, in which is described the spadone ought to be taken up with the right hand, as it is the more noble one, and with this it is placed into and gripped by the left hand, leaning against the same left arm as it shown in the present figure. The gentleman standing in this position can go on his way and assault one-on-one or against many, for he can speedily and without any time grip it with his right hand, unsheath the sword, and put it to whatever use the occasion requires. Gripping the sword in that manner maybe look good when you are marching or on a parade, but in my humble opinion there are far better ways to grip the sword, because carrying the sword in this way around is not very convenient or conserving energy. In my opinion, the more convenient way of carrying a greatsword around is by putting the paraya on your shoulder and having the sword a little bit tilted backwards so you can grip it by the knob. And this is the very most convenient way of carrying the sword around, since it conserves much more energy and you feel nearly nothing of the weight of the sword. A very good move.
On the other hand, if you have to march in a tighter formation, the Swiss guards from the Vatican had a nice idea. They placed the sword on their left shoulders by gripping the paraya and securing the grip with their left arm, which is a good idea because it also conserves much energy and you're not an obstacle for your teammates. You can also just place the sword on your right shoulder with the bare blade resting on your shoulder and walk around that way. It is also okay, and you can grip the sword pretty fast if you have the need to do this. If you're going to enter a building, it's a good idea to place the sword with the tip downwards and grip the handle with your hand with the thumb upwards, so you have full control over the sword and don't bump into things and people.
When the sword wasn't in use, and since it had no sheath or any scabbard, in the past the blades would have been wrapped around with oily cloth to prevent it from rust, and then stored on the wall or in the armory. Thank you for watching my short rambling about how to carry a two-handed sword. I hope you found that interesting, and see you next time.